Do you have an idea, or have you heard whether we're on par with our tax rates, higher, lower, or
Well, I
uh,
think I think it's
nothing?
definitely too low. I think they should look at it, but again, the Anchorage area legislators aren't going to look at it because they like the fact that it has the tax credits that keep the Anchorage area residents full of natural gas. So that's kind of the situation. Yeah, they should look at it, and I don't know the actual vote on this actual change might be okay, but it leaves some of the tax credits. I think it should be a straight tax for everybody. It should be looked at. It should be a little higher. I think but that's not the reason we're at 4%. The reason we're at 4% is because they can do shale oil, we can't.
And so when they're doing shale oil, really, as they are exploring, the natural gas is offsetting some of their costs of exploration, which is a huge cost to some of the oil companies, is what I understand a little bit there.
Yeah, exactly.
And so that would incentivize more drilling and more production. Second thing,
Yeah,
yep.
you have to remember the natural gas price in the lower 48 was really high from about '05 until '10, and so they just were desperate for natural gas, and they drilled and they started finding the shale gas, and they had pipelines in existence. So you just had to connect out to another pipeline, and you could start drilling. And even North Dakota, which was mostly oil, they weren't far from a natural gas pipeline. So if they had found natural gas there, they knew they could start sending it over to the pipeline that went to from Alberta to Chicago. So that fact that they could incentivize the gas, and then eventually they found more where the oil was more to do with everything than whatever tax bracket they had.
Well, there's one thing we're talking about some of the oil tax credits. We have a ballot initiative coming up that's going to put in front of the voters a decision. One of the things that, uh, just for a clarification, when we're looking at oil tax credits, we're not paying the oil companies, I don't believe. What I understand is that those tax credits are offsetting the tax liability, so we can offset tax liabilities down to zero, but we don't go into the negative rates. But perhaps you have a different understanding.
Well, that's true. What you're saying is technically true, but you can transfer that credit in terms of money for somebody to drill. So it's basically incentivized drilling, which is fine. But really, what they're incentivizing is a lot of drilling in Cook Inlet as well as the North Slope. And uh, so I don't think you necessarily need those tax credits. All you need is a straight tax. You should look at it. You should get the experts in and compare it and so on. That's what they should do, but they haven't done it. It's been 10 years, and the reason they haven't done it, not quite 10 years, but the reason they haven't done it is because they like the tax credits. They like the fact that there's incentives for the Cook Inlet drilling.
Yeah, that's a pretty big misunderstanding. Is that those the tax incentives frequently are geared towards Cook Inlet, and we oftentimes forget about the. I mean, South Central legislators or individuals will call the Cook Inlet natural gas play, a Cook Inlet renaissance or something like that. We often
Mm-hmm.
forget that about the Cook Inlet play, and I think that's a really great point that people should keep in mind.